Hey, it's Jude. Today I want to talk about my bushcraft knives. Ray Mears once said that bushcraft is what you carry in your mind and in your muscles. It's about going out there, doing things, and using the knowledge of the resources around you to carry less so that you can enjoy nature even more. I like to think of a bushcraft knife as a tool used to create anything you can imagine in the woods. That means it has to be a combination of a whittling knife, a wood processing knife, a game knife, a kitchen knife, and any other kind of knife there might be. From my limited experience, I have found that my favorite bushcraft knives fall under 5 parameters. The first being it has to have a really comfortable handle. Maybe I'm a bit of a sissy, but the more comfortable the handle, the more I enjoy using it and the more I will use it. In addition to that, I don't like anything past like 5 or 6 inches on my bushcraft knives. Less is more when it comes to that kind of stuff. If it's a 3, 4, 4.5 inch blade, that's perfect in my opinion. As simple a design as I can get on the blade is better. It's easier to carve with, easier to sharpen, maintain, and all those crazy angles and serrations and jimping, they just kind of get in the way of the design in my opinion. I like my blade thickness to be around the 1/8 inch mark. Any more, it becomes kind of hard to do fine stuff with, and any less, and it's kind of weak. And last of all, and this isn't always the most important to me, but it should have a 90-degree spine to scrape ferro rods and make fine fluff on wood. Not the most important, but I definitely like having a 90-degree spine on my knife. So I didn't say anything about the type of steel, the grind of the blade, the handle material or profile, because I think all of that kind of stuff is personal preference for a bushcraft knife. Now, if you're talking a survival knife, which Dave Canterbury outlined his 6 criteria, that it has to have a 5-inch blade, it's got to be high carbon steel, it must be full tang, have a 90-degree spine, strike with a flint, and be not coated with anything. But a survival knife is any decent knife that you've got on you when you're surviving. In my opinion, a bushcraft knife is more for the performance of the blade and for long use, whereas a survival knife is just anything to get you out of a bad situation. A survival knife is like a work truck. It's got to get the job done and keep on running. Doesn't matter how pretty it is, it's just got to be functional. A bushcraft knife is like a commuter car. Gets you around efficiently and comfortably. A high-end bushcraft knife is like a fancy sports car. Gets you around faster and you look really cool driving it. So these are my 5 favorite knives, and it's going to be difficult to narrow it down to just 3, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. In order to choose my top 3, I'm going to have to eliminate 2 from this log. And although I haven't used all of them for very long, I have used all of them for wood processing, carving, firecraft, stuff like that. So even after the short time I've had some of these, I think I can get it down. I'm still working with them and learning about them. So next year my opinion might be completely different, but for now I think I can choose 2 to get rid of. The first one off the log is going to be the fiddleback forged bushfinger. Although I love the knife, it slices and carves amazingly. It's got a great handle. It does not have a 90-degree spine, so it fails one of the criteria. Call me crazy, but the next one off the log is going to have to be the LT Wright GNS. While it's one of my favorite knives that I own, the handle is not always the most comfortable for me personally when I'm doing long carving tasks or really heavy bushcraft stuff. So that's them, my 3 favorite bushcraft knives. The LT Wright JX2 Jesmic, the Mora High Q Standard with the gray and red handle, and the LT Wright Genesis. The LT Wright JX2 Jesmic is number 3 on my list. It's the newest knife in my collection, so I'm not 100% familiar with it, but already, after the limited time I've used it, that handle is amazingly comfortable, super well designed. With that 4.5 inch blade with a 5 inch cutting edge, it's really amazing for slicing and cutting in bow drills and things like that. And it follows all of the criteria in my bushcraft knife list and passes with flying colors. Well done. So number 2 on my list is actually the Mora High Q standard model. It's been discontinued, which was a mistake, Mora, because it is honestly maybe my most used bushcraft knife. While it's not full tang and fancy and handmade and cost me maybe $9 or $10, it's honestly one of the best knives I've used. Amazing for slicing, carving, camp tasks, almost anything I've done with this, it just does it superbly. And while the spine is not a 90-degree edge like on our criteria, it wouldn't be too hard to sharpen that into one. So this right here is number 2 on my list. Not surprisingly, my favorite bushcraft knife is the LT Wright Genesis. It's got one of the most comfortable handles I've ever used. It's got my favorite blade shape and grind. It's got great steel. That 1/8" spine makes it perfect for slicing and bushcrafting. It follows all the criteria and surpasses them, and I love it. This video is in response to Feral Woodcraft's top 3 bushcraft knives. If you go and watch his video, which I highly suggest you do, you'll notice that I chose 2 knives that he also chose, and the reason being, I agree with him quite a bit. They're both very, very nice. Ooh, hummingbird. They're both very nice bushcraft knives. Let me know what you think of my choices, if you agree or disagree. I really appreciate all the comments, all the support. If you like the video, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.